The U.S. capture comes as President Donald Trump highlights Venezuela as being one of the richest crude oil reserves in the world. Speaking to reporters after Maduro's capture, President Trump said the U.S. is in charge now and will rebuild Venezuela's oil infrastructure. But there's a lot to talk about where this is concerned. Let's go live to Ed Hurst. He's the energy fellow at University of Houston. Ed, I come from oil and gas territory in Utah's Uinta Basin, northeastern Utah. We know that Houston is a major voice in how oil is produced and brought out of the ground, not only in the United States, but elsewhere. We also know that some of America's adversaries see that prime real estate of Venezuela, and this could affect things on a geopolitical sort of table. What do you know about what would have to happen to get Venezuela producing oil in a way that would benefit the United States and other people?
Well, Venezuela produces about 1.5 million barrels a day, uses about 1 million for internal uses. That's down from 3.5 million barrels a day 55, 60 years ago.
Yeah.
Exports about 500,000 barrels a day. A little bit goes to Cuba, most of it goes to China, and China's been financially supporting the Venezuelan oil patch. It's going to take years and billions of dollars of reinvestment to bring the Venezuelan oil machine back online. It's been 25 years where the revenues have been diverted to first the Chavez regime and then the Maduro regime. Anybody going in there is going to have to staff up, make sure there's fabrication, all sorts of manufacturing facilities, professionals brought in to rebuild the industry. And nobody's really certain of how that's going to work. The rule of law has been the rule of Maduro, and the Trump administration has simply replaced the president with the same regime, the same staffing, the same people. Chevron is already there, does about 150,000 barrels a day, and that's on a production sharing arrangement. Chevron is compensated for its investment by taking a small share of what is produced. The other companies, ExxonMobil may take a look at it, but they've had their assets expropriated twice. ConocoPhillips, the same sort of story. Year in, year out, these majors in the U.S. have gone to other countries only to have their assets expropriated when things get to be too lucrative.
Well, and when we look at oil supply chains, we know that that has direct trickle down for the American consumer. What about the people who are at the pump, and how could oil prices be affected in Main Street USA settings?
It's not going to have any impact. Certainly in the old days, we used to import a lot of the heavy oil from Venezuela and refine it on the Gulf Coast. Citgo, which was recently a subsidiary of PDVSA, Venezuela state oil company, was geared to refine that crude. But now we've replaced the heavy crudes that used to come from Venezuela and from Mexico with about 4 million barrels a day of heavy crude that comes from Canada, with occasional tankers of heavy crude from Saudi Arabia to top up the refineries, if you will. Venezuela produces exports 0.5% of the global oil market. And we know the president met with MBS of Saudi Arabia about 10 weeks ago. And clearly, Venezuela was on the agenda. The Saudis can replace any oil that's lost from Venezuela. The Saudis have 2 million barrels a day of spare producing capacity.
All right, Ed Hurst, we appreciate the conversation. Thank you so very much.